The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Steve Zabo. I'm Director of Sales for EMEA, in charge of business development throughout our international markets. I recognize a number of names attending today, so I want to first say thank you to everyone for taking the time out. This is meant to be a brief run through just on an update for the last 12 to 16 months. Take some questions towards the end. So hopefully don't take up the whole hour of your time today. Looks like we got some people rolling in still. Just a few housekeeping topics. So as far as the webinar is concerned, I'm recording this. I will distribute it out to everyone along with the PowerPoint presentation. And depending on the questions that we've gotten, I'll try and send those out with the answers as well. But plan to do some answering live. So within the GoToWebinar control panel there, you should see a place where you can enter questions. So feel free to enter them throughout the presentation, and then we'll get to those at the end. As far as the agenda is concerned, so we're going to focus on product updates and enhancements going all the way back to January of 2018. This will be focused on iFIX and CIMPLICITY Integration data sources, and obviously just the general product updates and enhancements. So then we'll go into what I'd like to discuss a little bit about our new WIN-911 mobile app and the beta program that we just launched. And then we talk a little bit about some of the technical resources, commercial resources we have available on our website, and we'll finish it up with a Q&A session. As far as the product updates are concerned, we had 7 official releases since January of 2018. So that's obviously what we'll cover. As I mentioned, general product, iFIX CIMPLICITY integration. We'll talk a little bit about the next release that we'll have out here in May, which is version 3.19.9. I'm not going to touch on all of the bug fixes or minor issues that we've changed. A full copy of the release notes is always on our website. You can find that under the documentation, technical documents. It is a running document, so you can go back and look at the changes that we've done on each of the versions. I'm just going to focus on highlighted kind of updates, product enhancements today. Let's jump into it. So starting with general product enhancements. Renotify on state change and auto ACK options for basic tactics. So this is an update we added in that's going to benefit users with standard and interactive licenses. These features at one point were only available in an advanced WIN-911 advanced license. And so the re-notify on state change was something that was always going to happen in a basic tactic. So we've given you the option to disable that. So maybe you just get calls on in the initial alarm state and not anything changing about it. So you have the ability to disable that now in your basic tactic. We've also given you the ability to do auto acknowledges on return to normal in the basic tactic. This was something that at one point you needed an advanced license to do. This is functionality that you had available in our version 7 product, and people moving from version 7 up to the new software, the new code base, was losing that functionality. So that's been built in. That was earlier in 2018 when we added that. We've also added automatic recovery functionality for TAPI voice modems. So this covers the idea of disconnect, reconnect of the modem physically, or a number of failed outbound calls can cause us to now automatically reinitialize or try to recover that hardware device to continue making phone calls. Also, early in 2018, added the option to disable the ability to acknowledge alarms from the WIN-911 log viewer. So there were some controls there that, although some customers did not want the operators to acknowledge alarms via email, phone, text, they still have the ability to acknowledge the alarm from the log viewer. So there's a way to hide those controls now to prevent the operators from doing that. We implemented support for SQL Server 2017. We also finished the support for Windows 10 1809. If you guys have noticed, Windows 10 is the Windows, I guess, operating systems are no longer doing the service packs. And so there's these builds coming out, and what we're finding as some of these are major changes. So we are now starting to list on our system requirements the specific builds and versions, the releases that they're doing with Windows 10. So I believe we're up to the latest at this point, 1809, but you'll want to keep an eye on our system requirements document, especially for Windows 10 releases, to make sure we've at least done the testing there. We will always keep that up to date, especially the one that's on the website. So we also improved call termination, error handling for voice calls. This goes for voice over IP as well as TAPI modems. The big thing there was after getting a phone call and we maybe ask you for your authorization code, you could then start listening to alarm messages if you chose to just hang the phone up without taking any action, or maybe you got disconnected. We found there was a long period, a long wait before we started the next call outs as we were waiting for a timeout. So now we're able to handle that, close the call out, and progress to the next call immediately. We've also did our testing for all the 4G LTE cellular modems. So the same multi-tech cellular modems we've been supporting, been selling an HSPA 3G modem for a number of years. We've passed support for all the LTE modems. Currently, WIN-911's not carrying the latest LTE modem for Europe, but it is supported, and we will be carrying those and selling those probably soon, and possibly replacing the HSPA version with the newer 4G LTE. We also did some work on OPC DA source, and this has to do around recovering from DA server faults. And so what this kind of means, give an explanation on it. When we query the item value, sometimes it returns back a bad quality, in which case we'll sit back and wait for a new update with a good quality event. If this bad quality event comes back with an OPC server error, and most of the times that is an unrecoverable event, and we drop the handle for that particular item or alarm. What we found is there are some server events that come through that are recoverable. In particular, events that come back with a server shutdown, RPC server unavailable, and unspecified error. We found that we can eventually get a good quality update later on for those items, which allows us to then continue on with alarm notification on it. So what we're doing is there's specific errors now that if we get a bad quality along with a server fault, we will determine if this is recoverable or not, and if so, then we'll hang on to the item to wait for a good update. You know, a good example of why we would release a handle is if you, let's say, just at the simple level misconfigured a tag and it doesn't exist in the OPC server, there's no reason for us to keep trying to connect to it or keep trying to get a good value if it doesn't exist there. And, you know, that would be a server fault that does come back and tells us that this alarm does not exist. So that's actually been an improvement. We noticed other issues from that where we thought we were losing connection to an OPC server, and that ended up being the case, that there were these server faults coming through that we could recover from. So happy to get that change in. That was recent, I believe, maybe on the 3.19.5 release. And then we've also actually 3 different kind of changes we made to help improve performance, reduce memory usage, especially when you get bursts of hundreds and hundreds of alarms. This is mainly at the dispatcher and SMS module level. We found a problem with the log viewer that would run, if you had the log viewer up and running for multiple weeks on end with a lot of activity, it was using too much memory, so we've helped fix that. We also found, did some cleanup on the SMS module where we were doing bookkeeping for roles when that really didn't need to live in that space or wasn't even really being used there. So just optimizing some of the code there has helped a lot, I think. And you could run into these issues in cases where there's large bursts of alarms. So we'll dive into iFIX. So I think one of the big features that we've added into iFIX, and if you're used to using our older version 7 product, was this ability of a heartbeat. And so this is the idea of being able to write a value or an incrementing value back to an iFIX tag, which could then allow you to monitor the health of WIN-911 through your iFIX screen. So that has been implemented. We've got a video that we did for one of our webinar series. It's on the website. We'll show you where that's located in a little bit. That's going to talk more about how that works. So that's been implemented. We added a priorities column for doing sorting when you do a block import. The iFIX data source supports filtering and subscriptions, which is normally the recommended way to do the connection into iFIX. But if you need to do block imports, we've added that priorities column. Also added support for the Polish version of iFIX. We halfway supported it before. That's working much better now. And then I think the other big thing was the big changes they made in iFIX 6.0. We got that support out there, in particular for the long tag names and log descriptions. This iFIX 6.0 changes with these tag names and long descriptions is actually made it to where our older version 7 product will not work with iFIX 6.0. So the newer standard interactive advanced software is required if you're moving up to that version. Then we also have made a change to where we get no data events. We bundled that in. We treat that as COM alarms. So you've got an option to disable COM alarms if you want those no data events also falling into the COM alarms. And then just the other bit of information I want to add here will have everyone's attention. So with iFIX 5.8 Service Pack 2 R2, we've had a KB article up for a long time now, but just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. There are 2 software improvement modules from GE that are required in your 5.8 SP2R2 that must be implemented in order for us to work with that version of iFIX. And there's a KB article titles there that describes that in more detail. Just for the others that joined a little bit late, we will be taking questions, doing some QA at the end of this. So within your GoToMeeting webinar control panel there, you should see a place where you can enter questions. Feel free to enter them, and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. Thank you. Okay, simplicity. Don't have a whole lot to talk to you about here. We really didn't do any work on the simplicity module this past year. We're still only supporting versions 8.2 and 9.0. If you have anyone using Simplicity 10, this is going to be require an OPC DA connection for us to get into Simplicity 10 at the moment. We do have plans to have the support done for Simplicity 10 this year. I do not have a time frame on when that will be. But I would assume too, when we dive into the version 10 support, there will be a number of other updates, enhancements, and changes we'll make to that Simplicity module. We just have not gotten to that in 2018. Okay, next release we got coming out. This is going to be version 3.19.9. We have a release date scheduled for May 22nd. So a couple just overarching, we'll kind of skip around here, just a couple general changes. So we will have support for Server 2019. We will be making some changes, I think pretty big changes to the voice module, and then I want to talk a little bit about this iFIX security change that will be happening as well. So we'll start with the voice changes. So eliminating the voice mailbox. So with the new software, Standard Interactive Advanced, it's got a bit of a different behavior than the version 7 product, and the fact that you can actually save alarm messages, or if it were to call you and you got disconnected, you wanted to call back an hour later to find out what those alarms were, you were able to do that. It was saving these messages in a mailbox. What we found is this idea of saving a message in the real world is not used that often, and also by this auto save, it ended up stacking a ton of messages up. When you'd get a new message and you'd call in, or it would call you, it would have to go through 6, 7, 8 old alarms. So we're going to eliminate the voicemail box altogether. It's going to behave a lot more like our older version 7 product, where it's going to call you and give you the alarm information, and it's going to give it to you, the current values and where it's at now. If you call back in 10 minutes and it's already been acknowledged and cleared, then you're not going to have any alarm. I think, with the notifiers with text like SMS, email, the mobile apps, that can work with more historical data, but the voice needs to be more live real time. This is going to help speed up the efficiency and just usability of getting these voice calls. It's already a slow notifier to begin with, and so we're looking at ways to try and speed this up. So that will be eliminated. Also give you the ability to do acts and skip messages during the playback, so that's going to also help you kind of get through the voice messages, voice alarms a little bit quicker. This has been we've had a lot of requests from customers, so we're glad to get this implemented and out to you guys soon. As far as iFIX, WIN-911 implementing a different iFIX security is concerned. So let me go a little bit into detail on this. So we had noticed at times that customers were not able to acknowledge alarms when going, whether it be through the text message, email, the acknowledgments were not happening back to iFIX. They would happen at some point, but then they would stop working. We started chasing down at a notifier end, but come to find out, the way we've implemented our iFIX security ended up being the culprit. So with iFIX security, give you a little background on this. When using this, so you can only have one user logged in at a time. And so what WIN-911 was doing is we were logging into iFIX with the user that you provided us with. And then what happens is if someone comes in and opens up the workspace or logs into the runtime, then what happens is we get logged out. We're now running under that particular user, which still gives us the ability to acknowledge alarms in most cases if the user has that ability. But then a lot of times there's a timeout set. So 15 minutes goes by and that person's logged out. So now no one's logged in. And what happens is now you get a notification, you try and acknowledge the alarm, and the acknowledgement fails. So we look back at the way we had implemented this in our version 7 product, and we found out that we were doing something slightly different. We weren't physically logging in. What we were doing is within the EDA toolkit, we're using a write impersonate. So we don't actually have to be logged in to get the alarm messages, but we do, so that's okay. So we don't technically need to log in, but you do need a login to be able to do acknowledgments. And so with this write impersonate, we're able to use the login that you provide us to do the acknowledgments with, but it doesn't require us to log in and log anyone else out. So this has actually been there for some time. It has caused some people some issues, and so this is also what's driving this release of 3.19.9. We've come across this recently, worked with GE on it, and so that will be out. Happy to answer any questions now, or if any other questions come up, everyone's got my contact details. Happy to discuss in more detail with you at a later time. So we can expect that May 22nd. Let's see. Okay. Mobile beta. So we've been advertising this for a long time now. The new WIN-911 mobile apps. So we've started the beta program. It was launched on May 1st. We're going to run a beta program for 2 months, so it'll end July 1st. We would like everyone to participate. We've got 2 ways in order to do that. We've got a very simple, quick way, simply downloading the app and connecting to a live demo server that we've provided. You'll run in a 15-minute session. You can get alarms, interact with the system. Very quick, easy way to evaluate the product and provide us with any feedback that you may have. The other option is you can actually get this set up in-house. And so this will require a beta version of WIN-911 software. It's version 3.19.7. And then you can actually run this test internally on your own WIN-911 system, your own alarms coming from, let's say, an iFIX or Simplicity. At the conclusion of the beta program, we will be doing a drawing for prizes. So as you submit feedback, this will be 1 entry for every bit of feedback you've submitted. Into a drawing, we're going to be giving away an 11-inch iPad Pro. That'll be the grand prize. We've got 5 $100 Amazon gift cards, and we've got 5 Yeti 30-ounce tumbler kind of insulated cups. Keep your drinks cold, keep your drinks hot. And they'll have the WIN-911 mobile logo branded on it. So I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the mobile app. We've got on our website a whole page dedicated to it. We launched, with the launch, we did it's close to an hour, I think, webinar. Gives you all the details you need. Everything else on the website, on this web page is there. The PowerPoint presentation, a quick start guide. And then we've also got an enrollment form. If I can bring that up quickly. So the way to get to the mobile beta page, if you go to our win911.com, you will have actually right on the home page, there's on the slider a way to get to it, or under products, you'll see a link for WIN-911 mobile beta. And then once there, at the bottom of that page, you'll have the enrollment form. You can download this app from the Google Play Store. You have to use Test Flight for your iOS. All of the instructions are here. To get this installed, you do not need to enroll to technically use the app, but we will ask you to enroll if you want to be in the prize drawing, and it is a requirement if you need to get an email from us for the beta link to get this thing installed locally. And so the enrollment form is just on the bottom of this page here. Okay. So the last 2 quick pieces that I want to touch on is we put a lot of work into technical resources for our customers, for our system integrators, for our partners, distributors. So I wanted to touch on some of the new resources we've added and some that have been there for some time, just to highlight again, and also on some commercial resources as well. So for the rest of this presentation, I'll take you around the website a little bit. I do have everything listed out within the PowerPoint links to get to everything we're going to discuss. So as I hand this out to everybody, that should get you where you need to go. So I guess what I want to talk about on the technical resources, I brought this up to a number of you before. So we got a lot of feedback from our system integrators, engineering partners, that it would be great if we could have more videos, short videos on how to do things like configure and maintain the software. So we've continued to put how-to videos together. We're up to 34 videos. They're all posted on our YouTube channel. Short 5 to 15 minute videos covering specific topics. Also, just recently, we've been working on this for a long time now, but we were just recently made this live, is we built installation checklists. I'll talk a little bit more in detail about that, as well as providing network diagrams. I think these network diagrams can help also on a commercial aspect. And then finally, I wanted to point out just a few things in our system requirements that I would like everyone to just be aware of as we move forward. So let's pull up the website quickly. So our how-to videos can be found under the resources link, also under support. And we've got all of our videos listed out here, topics, grouped. You can also find them on our YouTube page, which you can access from here or from our webinars page as well. So just keep those in mind. We've got data source specific setup, information, notifiers, and we'll continue to keep adding to this. The rest of the help resources are going to be all under the documentation page. So we'll go there now. And again, you could spend some time looking over these in more detail. But under the first section here, WIN-911 Standard Interactive Advanced, we've now got the install checklists and network diagrams listed here by SCADA type. So if I pull up the iFIX install checklist, the install checklist is put together. It's between 20 and 30 pages. And the idea is if we give you a document that can list out everything you need to know prior to going into an installation, this is what we provide you. And so it starts out, we've got a table of contents, and starts out with kind of a checklist. Okay, do I know this? Do I have this? Do I not? What do I need to brush up on before I dive into an installation? And so we start out there, and then it goes into everything you need to know for iFIX installation, and then we've covered all of the alarm notifiers. So maybe for this project, I'm using SMS and the mobile apps. So this is a one-stop guide for, okay, do an iFIX installation. Let me get this. This will tell me what all materials I need, information I need, so I'm prepared to go in and make the installation. So you'll find those under documentation, and then also the network diagrams. Take a look at the iFIX network diagrams. This helps on both the commercial aspect and technical aspect. The question I get all the time, okay, this is my system. This is how my iFIX system is set up. Where do I install WIN-911? And what licenses do I need? And so we've got a number of different scenarios laid out here, as simple as possible, and this can help get you that information. So that's listed out here as well. And then finally, the one thing I wanted to touch on our system requirements is, as I mentioned, with the new Windows 10 and the way they're doing releases, we need to be aware of what versions are supported. We'll keep this up to date. We've got our OS support here, and we're going to have the latest build listed out. Also, as far as SCADA versions are concerned, you'll find all of the versions that we're supporting here, so that helps keep you up to date. And those will always be up to date, and even between releases, if that needs to change, we'll get that updated. But okay, so that's on the technical front, and then we go on the commercial side. So we've got a new WIN-911 overview video. You find that on our YouTube page as well, or under the resources, brochures page. I'll show you that in a second. So I think this could be a good marketing tool. I think it was well done. We've also do our monthly webinar series. I don't know if we keep up with it every single month, but we're now up to 21 videos. These are longer, 40 minute to 1 hour webinars covering different topics, technical and commercial. We'll take a look at where those are at. We've got our product matrix, an interactive quote builder, and then I wanted to show you this hardware details that I always get questions about. Not sure if people know these resources are there. All right, so first things first, the webinar series, it's just going to be another list of links. You find it on the YouTube, but you can find that under our resources here. Also, if we click the main resources link, you'll find our new overview video, which should be front and center. And it'll be the first video under the overview video links. So take a look at that. I think that's a good marketing tool. And then let's see here. Under products, we've got our product matrix. Second from the top says compare products. This has been here a while. We have added some context sensitive links to some of the details, but this is a quick way to figure out, okay, we've got the 3 licenses, standard, interactive, advanced, what's included in what, and then to the left here, zoom in a little bit. We've got some learn more links that may help describe a little bit more of, okay, what's the difference between basic tactics and strategies to advanced tactics and strategies, network diagram links and so forth. So that's there. And then we're excited that we've been talking about this for a long time. We finally got our interactive quote builder implemented. And so this is just another way of kind of deciding, getting an idea on pricing, as well as what products what options are available for what products. So you come in, you select your main base package, and then you can kind of piece together what you think you need. Again, other help resources here. As always, software downloads, number of ways to get there. Download the 30-day trial. That's there for running our software in an evaluation mode. And finally, touch on the hardware. So I always get questions about, okay, you guys are using a cellular modem. That's great. Is there any way I could try and source this modem locally? Do you have the part number? Do you know where we can find information for the manufacturer details? So under resources, documentation, scroll down to the 3rd section. We have a list of all of the hardware that we sell and recommend by manufacturer name. On our price list, it also gives you the manufacturer part numbers. This has got links directly to their website. Find distributors, find information, AT command guides that you need. Okay, I think that runs me through it. We're 30 minutes in, doing good on time. Pretty much brings us to the end of the presentation. As I mentioned, I wanted to make this brief. If you're looking for more of a core functionality overview of the WIN-911 software, I didn't want to cover that here. We've got a lot of material on the website. The webinars section would be great to brush up on that and the overall functionality of the software. I must have answered everyone's questions because I only see a few in here. So I guess the first question that I received was, so the mobile app. So basically, for customers currently using mobile 911 or the mobile apps today, can they upgrade to the new mobile? So the answer to that is yes. So currently, if you have a WIN-911 interactive version, you have 10 mobile 911 apps. If you're using those today, you have an upgrade path with 10 of the new WIN-911 mobile when it's released. If you have the advanced package, which includes 25 mobile licenses, you're able to migrate when you choose to the new mobile app when released. As I mentioned, the beta program will run for 2 months, so we should be expecting a release date sometime after that. I can't give you an exact date on when that will be, but it should be hopefully shortly after that. So another question I have here is, are you any plans to implement OPC UA? The answer to that is yes. Don't have a date for you. We're still going to need to spec out which actual attributes and specifications of UA that we'll be using, but the goal is to have a more generic alarms and event type connection that is similar to the way our direct connects behave with iFIX, with Simplicity, to where we can just kind of play off of the alarm and event updates opposed to like an OPC DA raw value update. So yes, I'd say that's going to be the next data source that we provide. Should be at least planned on now an OPC UA connection, but cannot provide any more details at this time. Okay, that's looks like all the questions I have. So I'm going to get you guys out of here a little bit early. I want to thank you again for taking the time out. We'll get a link to the presentation, to the PowerPoint deck, and when you get a chance, encourage everyone to get on the beta page, check out the new mobile app, provide us some feedback, and maybe you get a chance to win an iPad. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. And if you have any other questions moving on, just feel free to reach out, send me an email. And have a nice day.